Hello, welcome back. Today we're doing a review. It's about a new piece of safety kit that's not been on the market long, and it's called Grr-Ripper. Some time ago I got into a little situation where, due to cold weather and using a plastic push stick, the push stick shattered and it took my finger into the soil. Very lucky that I never completely lost the top of my fingers, or all of my fingers come to that. So I had a review of the safety aspect of using a saw bench. I then decided that, looking at some of the other safety equipment that was around, the best one that was available at the time seemed to be the Grr-Ripper. Although a lot of money, very expensive for what it is. But when I received it, I opened the kit, looked at it, assembled it. Once I'd got used to using it, after a couple of minutes practice, it was fantastic. You can't fault it. But I'd like to show you that piece of kit so that you can see what's available. The whole kit in its entirety was £120, £125, which I obtained from a source in the UK. It is an American piece of kit. It is mainly available in America, but actually having over here, I think it should be more available more widely. Okay, as you can see, this is the Grr-Ripper. The box it arrived in was quite well packaged. The actual box itself is a good solid packaging, so you guarantee pretty much that any piece of kit that you're going to get in there is not going to be damaged. We'll open the box, assemble it, and I'll be back in a short while just to show you the assembled piece of kit. This is a fully assembled piece of kit, the Grr-Ripper. It has all the attachments and it gives you various adjustments. It also has a push stop on the back, which is a disposable push stop that if you cut through it or you route through it, you will be able to replace them. They usually come in small packs, and that is that piece there. It's adjustable for the height, obviously, as you can see. It's basically, this block is just replaceable. This piece up here, that's replaceable, because you'll find down the bottom you're going to get cuts through there from your saw blade or the shaping from your router piece as you go through. That is a replaceable item. They're not very expensive really, and I suppose in hindsight you could possibly get away with a little bit of 3/8 ply in there, or a bit of 3/8 hardwood that you can cut up into little squares, just have available. Going across, that middle adjustment is the one that will adjust to sit either side of your blade on your saw bench to give you a hold down right across the width of the piece that you're cutting on both sides of the cut. So if you can imagine your saw blade coming through between that side and the, I don't know if you can actually see it. It might be easier if I turn it over, to be honest. If you turn the block that way, you can see where the cutting block is, like the push block, and where the blade will run. Now that centre green leg can be adjusted to give you space in either side of your cut. It doesn't necessarily need to have the push block against the bench or against the rip fence. So as you can see, I don't know if the angle's going to show it for you, but you've got a couple of channels there. You've got where my thumb is, the adjustment to move this piece either that way or that way. This push block will then move either side of that. I will show you that on the saw bench shortly, just how the cut goes through. This plate actually holds against your piece of timber, so this, when you adjust the width of it to your piece of timber that you're putting through, it pushes the wood against the fence, so you're not going to run away from the fence. This one gives you the height adjustment to raise this block higher or lower depending on the thickness of your timber, and this one is the one that adjusts this plate to bring it in towards your fence. The angle of the handle is also slightly offset, and it is pushing towards the fence. So if you've got a right hand mounted fence, you adjust it so that that handle is pushing to the fence naturally, like as a natural grip. So I don't know if you can see that. So you're actually holding that part and your hand is away, well away from the actual blade. You've got the blade covered and that will push through and naturally push towards the fence on this side. On this side you can adjust the different leg sizes, and this one is like a normal piece of timber to be cut, but there is, if you take that off, that again is height adjustable for the thickness of your timber, and you can cut 1/8 of an inch from your fence. That will grip 1/8 of an inch from your fence to your saw blade, so you're safe in cutting thin strip against the rip fence. I'll set that up in a moment and I'll show you how that runs through the saw. For now, that piece of timber, if that is what we was using to go through the saw, that would sit over the top. It would be held down, run against the fence. If that was wider, you can see that point there is what is pushing it to the fence, and this point is the one that is actually pushing it down onto the table. Again, also available from Grr-Ripper is this push pad, which I chose to purchase at the same time. It's not part of the kit, it is an addition, but again it has got drop down push stops and they're on both ends. It's got a very good gripping system. It will grip, it won't slide around. So if you're using a planer, you can push that through a planer, a router. You can use it as the front block on the saw bench to hold still on the saw bench. So it's a very good piece of kit. I think it was worthwhile purchasing both. As you can see, the height of the gripper and how far your hand would be away in height from the blade. So you're well over the top of your work. And this is how you would set up a gripper for a rough 3x2 that I'm just taking the edge off. So as you can see, it would run through that centre channel. So there's nothing above, but as it passes over the blade, it's protecting your hand. And again, if you come round to the other side, you can see where the push stop is mounted on the back to push it through. And that is adjusted just correctly, so it's just going to push the timber through. It hasn't got to go right the way down, it's just to push through. This plate here is pushed right against timber, which in turn is pushing your timber against your fence. I'll make the cut now and I will show you how that performs. Okay, so we're going to turn on our dust extraction and our saw, making sure that it's away from the blade, and we'll make our cut. Perfectly clean cut. This cut here is from the blade, and that is a replaceable item. We'll remove that, as you can see. Nice clean cut and safely. Okay, so this is the actual gripper pad, which is more aimed at downward and inward force for being over the top of a piece of wood that you're not fully cutting through or using on a router bench to hold the work down. Now, if we was cutting a slight rebate on here, I'll show you, and I think you'll be able to see it from there, where the clearance would be and how it holds down the timber. Now I think you can see the position that the block is actually on the timber. And again, if I lift that slightly, you'll see where I put the cut across the edge, just as like a little rebate on the edge, and how it holds down. A lot safer than using push sticks. Push sticks will allow a little bit of wander if you're not careful. I don't think they're very solid because they're pushing from the back. There is no support over the top of the timber. This gives you full piece support. So this and the actual main gripper block are putting the pressure in all the right places while you're making the cut. You can use this as a forward push pad if you're not cutting right the way through. The same with the gripper block. the actual gripper block that I showed you just now being further to the back, providing the main push for the cut. So I think you'll all agree, having seen this, what a fantastic piece of kit this is. Like I said, very expensive for what it is, but what price do you put on safety and keeping your fingers? I'm quite happy to spend 125 quid. That will ensure, I think, that you're not going to make a lot more mistakes or have any minor accidents, courtesy of a bit of cold that caused the push stick to shatter. Something I wasn't very happy about, but it certainly taught me a lesson. You don't use plastic push sticks. They're all gone. I've banished the whole lot from the workshop. So the gripper, yeah, quite happy with it. I'd go with it every time. If you've got any comments you'd like to drop in the box below, look forward to reading them. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, consider a gripper. Throw those push sticks out or just use them as a pattern. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, like and subscribe. See you all next time. Thanks.